Hi, I'm Justin and welcome back to Just Shaves. For this video, I have a side-by-side comparison for two aluminum razors that I've been kind of itching to put against one another. The first one is going to be the Henson AL13, the Aggressive plate, versus the OliWorks M3terorite Aluminum, also the Aggressive plate. Henson, for the $69 it costs if you go directly to the Henson site, they only sell their mild and medium plates, and you get just that one razor for that $69. If you're interested in getting the Aggressive plate, it is still being made and being sold, but they sell it through third-party retailers. So I got this one through Shave Nation, but there's a few other websites I saw that have it, like the Razor Company was one that had it as well. OliWorks, I got this one directly from the OliWorks website. For $69, you basically just select the color, like whether you want the gray, the blue, or the red, and it comes with all three base plates. So dollar for dollar, this one is a pretty good bang for the buck. Really, the fit and finish, I thought both of these were just excellent. Like, that's part of the reason why I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison, is just I thought the gray finish on both of these was top-notch. The design, there's obviously some pretty significant design differences. OliWorks is going to have a much shorter handle, but the knurling on this is just one of my favorites. Like, it might be up there with my very favorite. In fact, I can't pick a better aluminum handle out there off the top of my head. Especially these knobs here just feel really grippy when you're taking the razor apart or screwing it together. Also, the threading when you're screwing it together, I don't know what they did, but it just feels so much smoother than most of the other aluminum razors I've used. And then the Henson kind of doesn't really need any introduction. Everyone's pretty familiar with this razor. I've used this one a couple times. It is on the, this is the Aggressive one, so it is a little bit more on the blade feel, more on the efficient side. Quite a few head shavers out there that have used this and also use the medium prefer the medium just because the extra comfort is worth whatever you're giving up in efficiency. And then the OliWorks, I haven't used the Aggressive plate yet, but I've used the medium a few times, and the medium's just spot on. It's as close to perfect as I could have asked for. Funny enough, I was messaging with John from Stubble Me Steel, and I was telling him how good the medium one was, and he was asking me, when and where was I going to use the Aggressive one for, and I think my response to him was that the medium one was already baby bear's porridge for me. So I don't really feel the need to go up to the Aggressive, but I still, for the sake of science, wanted to do this comparison. Briefly, just going over the cost again. For a single Henson, you're looking at $69. The OliWorks, for the $69, you're getting 3 different base plate options. So that's a really significant bonus on the OliWorks side. I don't think I saved my Henson box, but it comes in like a standard cardboard box. OliWorks comes in this, they call it like a travel box, but this is really just a nice display box that you'll want to hold on to. So again, for the $69, they squeeze this in and the extra 2 base plates. So dollar for dollar, shaving aside, the OliWorks is, I wouldn't call it a budget pick, but it's a really good value pick for that $69. You're getting quite a bit. And in terms of weight, overall weight feels pretty comparable. The Henson comes in around 37 grams, and then the OliWorks is going to be 40.5 grams. So in my hand, they're pretty comparable. Although it is worth noting that the Henson has a longer handle, so there's more handle to dissipate the weight from. So it just has a different balance than this OliWorks is going to have. Not better, not worse, just different. With the Aggressive version of the Henson, this one's going to come in at 0.98 millimeter blade gap, which is pretty significant, especially compared to the other Hensons. And then the blade exposure is going to be 0.09 millimeters. Also, pretty significant, pretty aggressive, especially when we're comparing 2 Hensons. OliWorks, on the other hand, blade gap on this one is going to be 1.02 millimeters. So, pretty negligible difference in gap. These ones are going to be pretty comparable. Where this one stands out is going to be in the blade exposure. It's 0.021. Pretty significant blade exposure, really more than most other razors I typically pick up. The Henson's, kind of middle of the road in terms of blade exposure. This is very much on the higher end, more than I would typically feel comfortable with. Worth noting with the design, both razors cover the blade tabs, which if you're a head shaver like myself is actually a pretty big deal, just because I have been nicked in the back of the ear with the exposed tabs, and it's just not fun. In terms of how well they clamp the blade, they just have a different design. So the Henson kind of has the blade flat for a good chunk of it, and at the very end there's like an aggressive bend, and then the top cap covers out to the edge of the blade further than most razors, so there should be very minimal chatter. The OliWorks, on the other hand, has a kind of a different design where it's getting the rigidity from bending the blade just a little bit more than the Henson, but it doesn't clamp quite as far out. Using the medium version, I didn't notice any weird things with blade chatter or anything of that like, but it is clamping the blade not quite as far out as the Henson does. Lather channels on the Henson, pretty much a solid bar all the way across, no issues there. And then nice big ones from the OliWorks as well, so I didn't have any issues here as well. I think I'll pause here. I'm just going to go ahead and get lathered up. I'm going to use the OliWorks on the right side, Henson on the left side. Blades for the day, I ended up selecting the Astra Superior Platinums, the green ones. I just wanted to go for something a little bit more on the mild side. I know what to expect with this Henson Aggressive because I used it before, but this OliWorks M3terorite Aggressive plate, I have a feeling it's going to be more razor than I like, so I wanted to try to dial that down just a little bit by going for a milder blade. But with that, I'm going to pause right here. I'll get lathered up, and then I'll jump right into a side-by-side comparison. All right, back and all lathered up. Made a little bit of a mess over myself, but I think we're in good shape for this upcoming shave. I'm going to go with the OliWorks M3terorite Aggressive plate on the right side of my head. This is the one that's going to have the, between the two razors, the most aggressive, just going off of it on paper at least, gap and blade exposure. Blade exposure is like almost twice what most razors seem to be. And you can kind of see just how much of the blade is sticking out past the shaving plane. Pretty familiar with the medium version of this. It's going to be my first time using the Aggressive. To kind of negate how aggressive it is, I will be trying to ride the cap a little bit more. And that's, the ability to do that is, okay, this is pretty darn smooth. Okay, that was pretty good. The ability to ride the top cap and, kind of play with the angles completely separates this from the Henson. Even the Henson Aggressive, it has like a fixed shaving angle built into it, even though the gap's larger than, the milder or the medium versions. This one, there's just more play. Like if you were dead set on shaving at a really steep angle, you can probably figure out a way to make it work. I'm going to be going at more of a shallow angle personally. And I was expecting this to be way more bitey than it was. Like this is just a really smooth experience. Like, I'm wondering if I kind of worked up my fears over nothing. This is awesome. Wow. Wow. So far, this feels almost exactly like what I remember the medium version feeling like. And the medium version I thought was, spot on and just perfect. And I had no interest or need of going up for the more aggressive version, but this was awesome. Wow. I'm gonna save the back of my head for last. I will just quickly retouch my lather on the left side of my head for the Henson side. And this is pretty good too. Like I think I've come to appreciate, you know, the Henson Aggressive since getting it. You know, I think because the gap is so much larger than the mild or the medium versions, it might not have the same issues with the drag as the other ones. And again, I haven't used the mild or the medium. I'm just kind of speculating based off of what I've read and what I can infer from the gaps being different. This is also very similar to the Apex and the Bison that I've also done comparisons with. I actually compared this against the Apex already. More similar than different. I thought the Apex for getting to the same level of efficiency was a little bit more comfortable, but again, you're kind of splitting hairs at that point. Most noteworthy difference between this and the OliWorks is just going to be that drag suction effect. And it has to do with how the geometry of the head, because this part's so flat, and then also the base plate is a little bit as well. There's just more surface contact, therefore there's more friction on your head as you're using the razor. The OliWorks has, you know, almost none. This was just an entirely smooth experience. All right, relather, get to the back of the head. So I'll still keep the OliWorks on the right side of the back of my head. And so far, like, I'm completely blown away with this OliWorks. Like, I really, really like the medium plate. And now I'm not sure if I like the aggressive one better. It's certainly a better value. Just, you know, it's still $70, but you get so much more for that $70 just with the case. And then most importantly, the different base plate options. So if you're like me and you have like an inconsistent shave schedule just because, you know, you might be going to the office only a few days a week or what have you, you know, might have days where you're shaving back-to-back days, but then days where you have, you know, 3 or 4 days worth of growth. You might not be reaching for the same level of razor each and every time. And then just having different base plate options solves that problem for you. And onto the Henson side, no major complaints. It's just, again, drag and suction. Just characteristic of this razor, similar to what I experienced with the Bison and a little bit with the Apex as well. So Hensons in general are typically marketed towards like newer shavers, people getting away from cartridges. Experienced shavers like them as well, just because that fixed angle makes it like almost like an autopilot shave where you're not thinking as much, or you kind of just get to you know, lather up, pick your blade and go. Like, there's no thinking for the angle. If you don't have the angle just right, rather than the Henson cutting you, it just won't work. So that's something to really be appreciated. But at the same time, with this OliWorks, you do have to find the angle. There's a lot of play. Like, if you were dead set on, you know, starting riding the base plate, like if you were really steeper shaver, you wanted to start right here and then rock out, you could find the angle. I like being on the top cap and going down this way. just with how the head's designed, it just glides. Like, this is a really awesome razor. I'm gonna rinse and then get re-lathered for my second pass, and we'll call it good, and then declare a winner between this. Although I think I already know who my winner is between this matchup. So I'll pause right here real quick. All right, back for the second pass. Keeping the Henson on the left side, I'm gonna start with the left side first. Mainly just to give the Henson some fresh lather to work with. And this is fine, but the drag suction sensation's just there. It's just, I don't know if there's a way to truly avoid that, but if you have a good lather, you can at least get it out of it without as many hiccups. Yeah, this is totally fine. One of the reasons why I was hesitant to get a Henson is, like, I had heard how mild they are and how you kind of need to go over multiple spots over and over again to get the shave closeness you want. That was part of the reason why I got the Aggressive. The Aggressive absolutely gets the job done for me in 2 passes. Maybe the medium would have as well, but the Aggressive definitely does. So with me wanting to have a Henson, this was probably the one that I wanted to get. I kind of avoided it for the first couple, first year or so of my journey, just because I thought there were other razors I was going to be more interested in. But then I had a kind of a late flashback where I was remembering one of the Henson commercials was the first place I heard of a double-edged safety razor. So just a little thank you to Henson and the marketing team. I decided to actually buy myself one after all these years. Back onto the OliWorks Meteorite. Yeah, it's just gliding, and it's, somewhat effortlessly just picking up everything. Like, not only is it so far winning this matchup, it's probably beating most other aluminum razors I've ever picked up. Like, I think the glide factor alone probably puts it ahead of the Bison and the Apex in my eyes. And you factor in at the same cost, you get base plate options and a nice display box as well. Only other razor that I'm yet to do a comparison with that I think is going to be able to be on par with this is the Colonial CR7. They also have 3 different base plate options, but in order to get all 3 base plate options, the pricing's I think around $90 right now. They don't have the same variety in terms of color and finish. Also, the handle on this one I think absolutely trumps the CR7. No. I don't know what else to say. This was much better than I was expecting on the Aggressive plate. I already knew I liked the medium. Wasn't expecting to also like the Aggressive as much as I am. So just re-lather the back of my head. These second passes are going quickly because both razors did a pretty good job on the first pass. So there really just isn't as many hairs rather to pick up on the second pass. Go Henson again. Yeah, like, I'm at peace with this drag suction effect, but I don't love it. Like, it feels like I'm having to pull the razor just with all the friction. But it works well. Like, I am getting a close shave and I don't feel any hints of irritation, and definitely no nicks or cuts yet. So all in all, for a 2-pass shave, Henson Aggressive gets it done for me. And then back to the OliWorks for the final pass. great audio feedback as well. I'll rinse off one final time and I'll be back with my final thoughts. All right, back with my final thoughts. Overall, post-shave, I feel like I got probably just a little bit closer on the OliWorks M3terorite side. Not enough to write home about. Like, I think the shave closeness of the Henson Aggressive was, more than adequate. Like, I think we're kind of nitpicking on the closeness. I think these both delivered an excellently close shave. The major difference is just going to be in the experience. Like, this one kind of, it was like a hot knife through butter. Like, once you have the angle just right, the whole razor just glides. This one, time and time again, I just kept feeling that drag suction sensation, which might not bother some people. It's just, comparing the two, it was a night and day difference. Like, this was probably one of the smoothest aluminum razors I've ever picked up. This one just had a little bit of that drag suction. In terms of blade feel, Henson Aggressive has more blade feel than I think people give it credit for. The OliWorks, there's some blade feel, but it's again just so efficient where it's just kind of moving through everything and just gliding through the whole shave. In terms of aesthetics, which one of these two you prefer, that's obviously just very personal. I, at the very least, prefer the handle of this OliWorks M3terorite over the Henson, but fit, finish, both are top notch. There's probably a tie. Like, these look like they almost could have came out of the same factory, just in terms of the color and the quality. Major takeaway, I prefer this one over the Henson. I prefer this one over just about every other aluminum razor I've ever used. And the pricing is just, they did something just right with this. So I wouldn't call this a budget pick, but it is a value pick, because for a top-end aluminum razor, $69 is kind of comparable to the rest of the market, but they also throw in 3 base plate options and a nice box for that same $69. So it's absolutely winning on that front, and just in terms of shave and the function, they hit it out of the park with this one. So I can't say nothing but good things about this. I haven't used the mild plate yet, and before this shave, I thought the medium was going to be just right for me. I think I now have a use case for the aggressive plate as well. This was so much smoother and more comfortable than I was expecting. But with that, call this job well done, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks, everyone.